What's up, everyone out there in YouTube land? This is Perry Lovewhistle, and it's time for another part of my Valios series on my Project 1999 Ranger Let's Play. So, at the end of the last episode, I was in the Crystal Caverns, and the next time I logged on, unfortunately, somebody else was killing Geonids. So I left, and I actually ended up finding a better place to get experience. I was back killing the elites in Iceclad Ocean, which, by the way, one level 42 ranger with my gear can hold that camp pretty easily. And I managed to get the last little bit of 42 and into 43, and a little bit more experience there. But something to note when you zone out of this, if you are a ranger, you have to zone out with no Spirit of Wolf or invisibility, because those have to be put on outdoors. And I came out and was immediately getting hit by a frost giant. I guess he was waiting for me right over there and aggroed me as soon as I came out. So I had to do some fancy footwork, root him, put my Spirit of Wolf and camouflage back on. But this is a one-way zone. So you pop out of here, and I am going to take the path that the Coldane took out of their secret passageway at the back of their Froststone and head west towards the Great Divide. By the way, to get to the Great Divide, if you're not familiar, you just head straight west, and then you go up north up the west wall to the Great Divide. Or you can head slightly northwest from the Rygor Fort, which will get you to the Giant Fort. And then you can use the Giant Fort to make sure that you're heading straight west. And just hop right over these two hills, and we will be in the little cleft heading to the Great Divide zone line in no time. Alright, here it is. And I don't know if anybody else has seen this, been over here on Project 1999, or maybe this was the case back in live. But there is a frost giant savage just past the zone, and he's just been sitting there every time that I've been through here. But we go through here, and that'll pop us out right into the Great Divide. From what I can tell, the Great Divide seems to actually be a little bit of a safer zone than Eastern Wastes. So a lot of stuff here is blue. Once I get farther in, a lot of it will be actually dark green. And there's not, like, there's no elder snow griffins that scream through at Spirit of Wolf pace and absolutely wreck your day. If this is your first time in the Great Divide, then all you need to do is head straight west until the river, and then north along the river to get to Thurgadin. Good idea to have invis of some kind on, because there are frost giants all along here. And on your way in, you will pass Combine Spires, which, as far as lore is concerned, by the way, these make no sense, because the Combine Empire has there is no point in the lore where they would have been able to come to Valios to get past the frost barrier. And it's also not mentioned at any point in Combine lore that they ever came to Valios. But this becomes the Nexus location for Valios once the next expansion comes out, which won't be on Project 1999, but, you know, there it is. So if you're on one of the servers that has Luklin, but not Planes of Power yet, and you're using the Nexus to get around, this is where the Nexus will drop you. And as you move towards the middle of the zone, you'll notice, if you come through at night, you'll notice this nice, cool, glowing river, which takes you straight to Thurgadin. You can also take it south through the Shardworm Caverns, which I won't be doing. Got to be a little bit stronger than Little Zainer to head to the Shardworm Caverns. And of course, no fantasy RPG is complete without a secret tunnel behind a waterfall. So, to follow up with the lore about the Coldane that we got while we were in Crystal Caverns, which, by the way, is almost word for word the bit of lore out of one of the lore pamphlets that came with this expansion in the box. It was letters back to the other main continents from adventurers adventuring in Valios, and there was a total of 3 letters because there was a group of 4 people that got split up in Eastern Wastes. One of them ended up coming to Thurgadin, and in that letter you get the copy of the lore. So that's straight out of Crystal Caverns, and they talk about that whole story about, you know, the orcs and the giants and fighting the giants twice, and how they didn't have really good defenses. So they built Thurgadin with much stronger defenses. That's brought up a couple of times in the lore, which is absolutely true. And by the way, if any of you guys haven't been in Thurgadin, there is ice right here. Oh, no, 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 no. And if you fall down there, first of all, it hurts a whole bunch. And then you have to either get gated out or get past level 57 and a level 60 named mob that can see invis and summon. And it's a nightmare. Basically, if you fall down there and you don't have somebody to gate you out, which I currently don't because none of my friends are online and outside of my guild, and my guild's busy fighting dragons, you might as well just log out. Come back in later. And then you got these really cool portholes over here with archers. And I am going to be going back out to the Great Divide to run around and kill a few things, just see how easy it is to fight things solo as a level 43 ranger. But I wanted to show off some of the important things of Thurgadin first. As you come inside, first of all, the bank, which is probably the most important thing, is right over here. You got 2 bankers and you got a whole bunch of trade skill vendors right there. Also, the city as a whole is set up in a circle, a lot like the collective city from the 2nd expansion of World of Warcraft. The difference is there's not quite as many useful things here. There are a couple of trainers. There is a cleric trainer, a paladin trainer, and a rogue trainer, which makes sense being a dwarf city. Is there not also... I guess there isn't a warrior trainer. But also back here, back in the back, there are the Thurgadin mines, where there's a couple of level 30 creatures that spawn in here, 30 to 32-ish. Crystal spiders spawn back here, which you can get crystal silk from, scuttle bats, scuttle rats, and a lesser targu, which is one of the things that potentially can drop a braided beard of the Coldane, which is what I picked up while I was in there. I'll probably be trying to sell this at some point. But yeah, you could potentially hunt back here. You also, it's really easy to avoid the mobs in there. But that is the short version of Thurgadin. But since I don't currently have anything necessary to do any of the quest turn-ins in here, which there are a lot of really cool quests in Thurgadin that are mainly aimed at level 50 plus characters who aren't trying to level up, I will be headed back to the Great Divide to see if I can find myself a new hunting zone. So for the record, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to end up killing giants, because not only is that good experience and money, but it's also good for faction, because it helps my dragon faction, which is going to make things a little bit easier for me in the very near future. And the giants are all right over here, just out and to the left of the main city, which makes this pretty much the most convenient place for me to be hunting since I've come to Velios. But I'm going to run around the zone counterclockwise to sort of show off and kind of explore a little bit some of the other areas that I haven't been really looking at. So up here in the northwest of the zone are the Tismak Caves, and it looks like there's 3 entrances to them, and they are indifferent to me. And it looks like if I had come here maybe 2 levels ago, it would have actually been worth killing them. I may step back and kill one of them just to see how easy it is. Yeah, why not? I'll pull one up to the north wall. Maybe this guy right here. Or maybe one of the ones that's closer to the north wall. So they're pretty easy for me to face tank, apparently. Yeah, probably could have been fighting these guys at level 41 before they greened out to me. Would have been a very efficient use of my energy. You know, actually, even though they're dark green to me, that was actually not too bad of experience. It might just be a combination of possibility of heading up here to the Tismak Caves to get some leveling done, because that did give me a good chunk of experience, and that was a very easy kill. And as we continue to work our way south, the next point of interest is the Dragon Ring, which is where both wizards and druids port in. And by the way, in order to port here, you need to pick up... Actually, someone just picked it up in front of me, but it doesn't matter because I've already picked it up. You need to pick up the Tooth of the Great Divide. You've got to have this in your inventory in order to port here. And by the way, these are bound to your character. So like if I die, this will be in my inventory still when I respawn. And in this area, there are shardworms, which are still blue to me, and I'm going to try and kill one. There's also Tismaks and Feral Cave Kodiaks. I'll probably kill a couple of Feral Cave Kodiaks too, just because they might drop Kodiak pelts, which I still need for another quest that I'm doing. But I'm going to med up, heal up, and then see if I can kill that shardworm. Well, about the same experience as that dark green Tismak. But it did drop a shardworm claw, which is something that I need for a quest that I plan on doing. Well, just as I was coming past the dragon shrine after killing that shardworm, I ended up getting invited by my guild out to South Karana to help us farm Pegasus cloaks and Rings of Shadow, which we were very successful in the Rings of Shadow, by the way. But after that, I ended up going to Khazak Thul for just a couple of hours and getting all the way through level 43. So I'm now level 44, and that's going to make a lot of things easier in here. First of all, I'm pretty sure that makes all the Tismaks greened out to me, but it doesn't matter because I don't need to be farming experience in here. I can finish checking out all the cool stuff in the zone and then go kill shardworms until I get 3 more of these shardworm claws, and then turn them in for a new weapon. So let's continue our little tour of the Great Divide. Going straight south from the Dragon Circle brings you to a series of caves. There's actually, looks like 4 different caves down here in the southeast corner of the zone. This one, the farthest north, has a Koldane smuggler in it. I guess sometimes. I don't see anybody in here right now. Come around a little bit to the east. We can see 2 more caves here. This one, the first one up north, leads to Bloodmaw, which if you need Bloodmaw, that means that you probably don't need a guide on how to get to him, because he is the final turn-in point for the eye patch of Plunder. But the next one down, and I'm not going to bother going in because I don't trust my invisibility, but the next one down has Ice Tooth in it, who it looks like is currently being camped because he drops some useful stuff. Yeah, Ice Tooth's Claws, which is not a bad one-hand slashing, 1129. Not quite as good as my Green Jade Broadsword, but a decent newbie weapon. And Ice Tooth's Pelt, which is a back item with AC 5, Strength 4, HP plus 15. So not as good as my Direwolf Fur Cloak. So a decent place to come and farm some newbie items, but nothing I need. And then if you go up from here, this is the cave into Velkator's Labyrinth, which supposedly in later Everquest, this is kind of a place to go at maybe around my level, but as I understand it, it is currently somewhere that, I mean, probably enchanters and necromancers can solo in there, maybe mages, but there is no chance that I'm going to survive a trip into Velks on my own. Of course, it does give me a good place to run to zone, and if there are young shardworms all the way over here, this might be where I go to kill to get my last claws. Well, moving back east, there's lots of shardworms around here. Vorez the Hunter, who is the quest turn-in for Crystal Cavern's Ancient Artifacts, which is not a terribly difficult quest, it looks like, if you've got a group of appropriate levels, because you've got to go and kill the higher level mobs in Crystal Caverns, which I can't solo, but, you know, maybe if I had a good group, it would be pretty easy. And way down here in the southeast corner of the zone, there's one last little cave, which is Valium mines, supposedly, which I think is a place to come and kill Coldane if trying to work on opposing factions. There's also some pretty high level guards in here. And this is also where I will be coming if I get all 3 of my claws, because this is where you have to do the turn in, which I think is all the way in the back. Okay, here we are. And all the way in the back is Relic. Tell him you're here to help. Bring me 4 Shardworm claws, and he can rig up enough picks to keep us running on time with our crystal mining, he says. And also this named guard, Korf Brokenhammer, who is the final turn-in for the Coldane Military Wrist Guard, which requires being a little bit higher level than me and going to some other places. So I think since I've got these nice guards to be able to run to, and the Shardworms that I need to kill are all right here, I'm going to hang out by the Valium mines and try and kite down some Shardworms. Well, that Shardworm nearly killed me. He got a lot of high hits on, and his proc, so they proc this ice shard thing that I think maxes at 150 damage, and he hit me with it twice. And I think if I hadn't gotten a lot of lucky procs, that could have easily gone another way. But I'm also very nearly out of arrows, so I'm going to heal up just enough to make the run back to Thurgadin, and then maybe call it a day. Come back and find more claws another time. Well, that's about all the time that I have, but I think I've covered the Great Divide pretty thoroughly. The only thing that I didn't manage to do while I was here was get that quest done for the Coldane pick, which I can come back and do another time when I'm a little bit stronger. It's not really important that I get that unless I make it to level 45 and still haven't replaced the Sword of Skyfire. But aside from that, there really isn't much to do in Great Divide. If it had a better zone experience modifier, it would probably be a great place to solo. It's really big open area. It's great for potentially rangers and druids. It's probably also the best place to kill Coldane if you're trying to farm faction for giants and dragons. But aside from that, it's pretty much just the place next to the Coldane city, and there's lots of quests in the Coldane city. So it's more or less a place to go through on your way somewhere else, either to Thurgadin or Velks, or a place to port in to Valios to head farther west, which is what I'm going to be doing in the next video. It's going to start getting a little bit more exciting, especially since in the next video I'm going to go through the giant city into the Awakening Lands, which I've only done before on my very lower level Bard, to grab the claw for the Awakening Lands. So I'm actually going to be there at an appropriate level on an appropriate character to kill some things. And also the lore starts to open up a little bit more starting at going into the Awakening Lands. So that's going to be a really exciting video, and I'm really looking forward to putting that one out. Thanks for watching. Thanks especially to everyone who gives me a shout out in game or gives me an invite to a group somewhere, because all of my recent levels have been random pickup groups from people either in the guild or viewers of the channel, and I've made a lot of experience that way. And I will see you guys next time as I move into the Awakening Lands. Bye.